My name is Dani Lynn, also known as Miss Oodelally from Oodelally Shop. Me and my family are plant-based eaters. Join me on this adventure of changing vintage cookbooks into plant-based recipes. These recipes are delicious for everyone. Hello everyone, and welcome to Oodelally Shop Cook With Me's first ever video. We're starting out with the Betty Crocker Dinner in a Dish cookbook from 1965. The first dish that we're going to be changing to be plant-based is the Apple Orchard Bean Bake. It sounds delicious. Let's get started. First we need to make the beans and molasses sauce. So I'm going to use the saucepan. There we go. To the pan we need white beans. This is about 2 cans of white beans. I make our white beans, all of our beans, from dried beans. I soak them and make them in our pressure cooker. But you can use the canned beans as well. There we go. In the pot. Next, we need the molasses. So I need to grab a way to measure this out. 1 moment. We need 1/4 cup of molasses, which is 4 tablespoons. If I can get the molasses open. There we go. So 4 tablespoons. This takes a little while. Molasses is pretty slow at coming out of the container. There's 1. Ooh, 1. Now, two. Ah! Oh no! Don't worry if you have some troubles too. Molasses is tricky to work with. 2. Here's 3. And 4. Next we're going to need ketchup. We use the unsweetened ketchup. This is a new container, so I'm going to have to open it up. Okay, we need a 1/2 cup of ketchup, which is 8 tablespoons. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, excited to try this. Next, we need 4 tablespoons of ground mustard. I call this fancy mustard. This is also a new container, so we gotta try getting it open. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you try making this dish too, post pictures to Instagram and tag Oodelally shop so I can see you having fun making it too. Next up, we need apple cider vinegar. We need 2 tablespoons. So let's get that into the pot as well. One and 2. Next, we need a half a teaspoon of baking soda. But I forgot to get that out on the table, so I'm going to pop into the pantry and get that. Here we go. Baking soda. We need half a teaspoon. Alright, I'm going to turn this on medium heat and give it a stir with a wooden spoon. As this starts to cook, we're going to dice the onion to go into the beans. I'm going to give the beans a stir with my wooden spoon. What I like to do when I'm using our cutting boards is I put a piece of the non-slip shelf liners onto the island. Let's move this all over. So I put this on the island and put the cutting board on top. Let's get the cutting board. Now the cutting board won't slip around while I'm cutting the onion. We need about half a cup of onion. Another trick for cutting onions is you take a paper towel and get it damp and set it on the cutting board, and then your eyes won't water while you're cutting the onion. Now that the onions all cut up, we're going to add it in with the beans. With the beans as well, we need a half a cup of TVP, textured vegetable protein. We're going to add this in with the beans as well. Oh, I almost forgot. We need to add a coconut sugar. we need to add 3 tablespoons of coconut sugar into the beans. 1, 2, 3. And give it a stir around. It's looking good. I'll come grab the camera and give you a close-up of the baked beans. Here we go. There's the baked beans. They're looking delicious, aren't they? Hey, let's get a lid onto this pot on low heat now, and we'll start the next part of the recipe. Alright, let's try some magic. Ready? We're going to use this pan for the next part of the recipe, or you can be Rapunzel. So, in this pan, we're going to add I'm using Impossible sausage. It's the 14-ounce. So let's cut this open and get it into the pot. I'm going to turn this burner on to medium heat. I'm going to tidy up the workspace, but let's speed this up. That worked out fast. Make sure that you're stirring the Impossible sausage periodically until it's thoroughly cooked. As this continues to cook, I'm going to get the next ingredient, which is right here. I'm going to take the tomato sauce and get a half a cup ready to go in with the Impossible sausage. There is half a cup. I'm going to add the cayenne pepper for a bit of a kick into the sauce. I'm going to use 1/4 teaspoon. 1/4 teaspoon into the sauce to give the meal a bit of a kick. I'm going to set this aside because next we're going to need to thinly slice the apple. Impossible sausage is looking good. It's almost thoroughly cooked. I'm going to turn down the heat. I'm going to let this cook while we cut the apple. Now that I thinly sliced it, I'm going to cut all the slices again so that they're a bit smaller. Now that I have them all in thin pieces, this is the best part of being the chef. You get to snitch. It looks like the Impossible sausage is ready. So I'm going to add the sauce that we prepped. Let's give give this a good stir so that it's well coated. Okay, now let's combine all the parts together. The beans, the apples, and the sausage. Here goes the apples. I'm going to use a towel to grab the lid. And let's add the beans in. I'm going to preheat the oven to 350. And while that preheats, I'm going to mix the Impossible sausage, the apples, and the baked beans all together until they're well combined. Once they're well combined, I'm going to get them into my pretty pink Pyrex so they can bake in the oven. Before I add this to my Pyrex, I'm going to give it a taste test. It's very tasty. As I get the Apple Orchard bean bake into the Pyrex, I'll suggest some options that can go with this dish. I think it would be really delicious as a topping on chips like nachos with a bunch of fresh veggies on top, or roasting some veggies in the oven, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, carrots to have on the side. Make sure you always use a trivet to place the hot pans on. You can find adorable Pyrex and clothes like these on my eBay shop. Links in the description. Once the oven is fully preheated, I'm going to pop this in for 15 minutes. Now that the oven's preheated, I'm going to pop this in for 15 minutes. And set the timer. You can serve it with whatever you'd like, but we're going to have it with Bubba's Bagels. They're not a sponsor, though if they'd like to contact me, I love these bagels. Now that this is done, I'm going to turn off the oven and get it out so we can serve it onto plates. Looks delicious. I put out the ketchup and the mustard as options for on top. Let's get it plated. I had a fun, fantastic time making this dish with you. If you make this dish, make sure you post it on Instagram and tag Oodelally Shop so I can see you making it. The Apple Orchard Bean Bake was so delicious, and I hope you enjoy. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All the links to my shops are in the description below. We'll see you next time for episode 2 of Oodelally Shop Cook With Me.